fountain, mountain. Mountains don't typically have fountains, though, do they?
Unless they're volcanoes, and then they're ouch fountains.
Time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 256 of Born 57 of Born to be Wild, a wild Hearthstone podcast where we have fun, hanging out with friends, talking about the wild formats of Hearthstone, and spotlighting members of the wild community. I am your host, ElectricSheepCity. That me. It's great to be back on this fantastic Friday evening here in Kickin' Rad, Colorado. I am joined by fellow host, SchmoopieDady.
Sheep, did you know our hats are waterproof? Our hats are waterproof. I know because I took the hat and I put it under the faucet and I was like, Schmoopie, check this out. And he's like, no, Dad, it's going to get wet. It's going to soak up all the water. I'm like, well, then I'll just dry it. He's like, no, Dad, don't do it. And I turned it on and the water rolled right off. And he's like, that's so freaking cool.
We can use them to drink water.
We can, actually. We actually can. It's probably one of the
actually,
functions.
For real. So for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. And the video version of this podcast is posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all of the podcast apps. So however you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes, you.
Content plug, SchmoopieDady. Before we get to the main topic of the show tonight, I'd like to say a quick thank you to the patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video on YouTube. Another way to support the show is to leave a review on your your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is free if you use Amazon Prime. Finally, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 per month. We have some channels in the Discord that are unlocked by subscribing to the Patreon, where you can see the show coming together each week. Check it out. If you'd like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord, a free and amazing online community of friends from all across the world who love talking about wild Hearthstone. Links to all of this stuff and more, including our merch, can be found at our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. Sheep, how's your week?
So my weeks were pretty decent. So I watched, last time I mentioned that, I was in a pretty big Ari Aster kick, and that I had the director's cut of Midsommar kind of on the way. I since have gotten that in, and it's fine. Like, it was really cool seeing more depth and all that good stuff, but I also totally understand why the theatrical cut was the way that it was. So, good extra content, but I mean, for most people, just kind of made it a little longer.
Gotcha.
I also saw Eddington now too. Like it came out on VOD, and something pretty cool with the like A24 shop was that like if you pre-order it, then you get the automatic like digital copy like immediately. So that was really cool. And that was a really good one too. Probably my least favorite of his, but like I was saying last time, like his, I really resonate with his movies. So like, that's not really saying that it was bad at all. Cause it was really good. Tonight we actually had Chipotle. So yeah.
You had Chipotle?
We had Chipotle. It's the first time we've gotten food from like not the grocery store in ages. So like I had that a little over an hour ago and my belly still feels full.
Nice. What did little man have? What do you get, little man? Right, just beans and cheese. Does he eat the meat? My daughter's in like a doesn't want ground beef phase.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, little man got a quesadilla, so it was just, cheese and tortilla, but like he was
Nice.
not interested
Solid.
in that at all, even though he likes both of those things. But he also had chips, and he was a big fan of the chips. He also had rice and was like, "Ooh, this rice is like cheese," and so he liked that. It was funny.
Perfect. We take those. We take those.
Lil Man is talking up a storm too. Like I said, he said, "Oh, this rice is like cheese." Like, dude is 4 months away from being 3, and like his sentences are just like coherent and like, man, I don't know if he's going to be a wild player.
He will. Don't worry. Just give him time. You have plenty of time to mess up. Between now and his promising future that's in front of him, if he never touches wild, you have lots and lots of opportunities to do the wrong thing. Just you're all set. Don't worry. Mine's 7. Right? And those 5 years, it's a long 5 years. 4 years? 4-ish years.
Yeah.
Math is hard from the sleep deprivation. You get the idea.
He just like me, for real, for real.
For real.
And also super exciting. So you know the Red Rising series that I've been evangelizing for, I guess, years now on this very podcast. There's like this little giveaway type thing going on there, and I won one of the things. So it's basically how they're revealing like the next book after the one that's about to come out. So the one that's about to come out is Red God. We've known that for a while. But the next one is like in the same universe, but not part of the same like direct series or whatever, like different cast of characters. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. It hasn't come out.
Right.
And so it's going to be called The Book of Lorne, Epiodium 1. So episode 1, I'm guessing. And the thing that I won is like a foil poster type thing or print of the book cover and like a signed like book plate thing. So that's not, to me yet, but they have these little cool like game like puzzle pieces. And if you
nice.
are able to like trade with the people in the area, and like I joined the Colorado, or I was one of the like founding members, not the creator, but the founding members of the Discord of Blucifer's Legion. So Blucifer is the like, there's this blue statue of this like huge just like Mustang essentially, and its eyes are like glowing red, and that's right outside of the Denver airport. So we call that Blucifer. And so, of course,
sense.
We're Blucifer Legion because of that, right?
Sounds great.
So, traded puzzle pieces around with a couple of my fellow Legion mates and was able to get that thing. And the first 200 people to assemble it, like, are the ones who get the signed thing. You can also get, like, I also got, like, a little patch that came in with mine. Enhance.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
There we
so it's like a little
go.
griffin on there. It says, honor in primo, honor in ultimo. So honor in the first, honor in the last. So all to say, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like super psyched about that book. Like, you don't even know. So Lorne Arcos. Lorne Arcos is like this big character throughout. And I'm guessing, because it's called the Book of Lorne, that it's like about him. So he's a fascinating character. He was like super old in like the first trilogy. So going back in time, seeing like what happened there, like that, I just can't
so it looks
wait.
like it's like a prequel type sort of situation for more depth. Yeah, I have to admit I'm still stuck in book 2, but I stopped reading for a while and started like watching more stuff on my phone before I went to bed. So that's not necessarily a fault of the series. It's just I was just like, I finished the first book, I started the second book, and then like didn't get into that first like plot rush that always happens in a second book, right? Where it's like, okay, we have to reestablish things, and yes, events are happening, but everything's a little slow, and then like boom, and then it goes, right? I didn't hit the water slide, and so I'm doing other stuff. I'm working my way through like Baki and Kengan fights and stuff. So it's Anyway, that's where my space is at. But I will return to the Red Rising series. I promise. Please don't hunt me down, and eat my liver, or whatever you guys do.
I mean, eating the liver is a new one, but that's a good idea. Once you get to the plot rush, you won't be able to put it down. Like the second
solid,
book
yeah.
is incredible. Like my very favorite one is Dark Age, maybe Lightbringer, so book 6 or 5 or 6. But like before those came out, Golden Sun, the second one, was like hands down my favorite. It is epic as all get out. So I know that you haven't been reading the Red Rising series this past week, Schmoopie, but what have you been doing, friend?
Sure. We had a huge family trip, which is why we missed last Friday's episode. It's one of those 5 hours. We drive from my house to the way we trace it is we drive from my house to the Lewes Cape May ferry, which is on the very bottom of New Jersey. And then we take the ferry over to Lewes, Delaware, and from there we drive to my aunt's house in Salisbury. Now, my family's a little complicated. My aunt technically has a granddaughter, but not necessarily blood related. So my kids are almost like a de facto like extra grandchildren for my aunt, because I've been going to my aunt's house since I was my daughter's age. So basically, since I was 4, I've been going down to Maryland. And what was really special about this trip was not only were my kids a little bit older and they could kind of like anticipate stuff and enjoy stuff that we did more, but also my parents were able to make the trip. I got to see my sister, which I don't often get to see. Amazingly, I did not end up on the floor, despite my sister being present. She didn't stay long enough for me to get into trouble. But we had a fantastic time, and it was like one of those... it was one of those, like, vacations. Like, I think we all have these vacations of, like, when we were kids that were, like, that's, like, you go look back, and you're like, that's your idea of vacation, your quintessential vacation. Unironically, my children had so much fun. They were sad when they were going to bed at night, because they're just like, no, but I don't want this day to end. This day's been awesome. And so, we would do stuff like we'd go to Assateague Island and hit the beach, or, we would do one of the play places there, or Salisbury has a great zoo. So we'd walk around the zoo, and then we'd go do the playground right next to the zoo. Like it's just like a great time. So that's what we did. And as a wild player, to make that trip, I've got to consume 2 16 ounces of Red Bull, obviously, to keep my focus on the way down. So, so I was like basically rocking on Red Bull, half gallon of Red Bull on the way down, and rocking on a half gallon of Red Bull on the way up. We came back Monday. It was just a great trip. And so when I returned, I went back to streaming, and it was like probably one of my biggest breaks streaming for a long time. Yeah. I didn't stream the Thursday before the trip because my parents stayed over at my house in order to gear up to go down together. I didn't stream Friday because I was driving and I was in Maryland, and I didn't stream, Saturday, Sunday because I was, indisposed, on vacation, hanging out with my aunt and my uncle. And so I came back Monday, started up again, and it was like kind of like a re-energized, okay, I'm ready to stream again. And last night, had one of the funniest things happen to me. I got 4K Rogue wins playing Hostage Rogue. So somebody had sent a Hostage Rogue earlier in the week. I'd torn it a new butthole because I had said how bad it was and where the errors were and what I didn't like about it. And they're like, no, it's okay, trust, just try it. And this was like Monday when I just gotten back from my vacation. So I probably shouldn't have streamed Monday, but I was desperate to get like new footage for YouTube. But my patience was like at an all-time low. Like the ride by and large was pretty good. We hit virtually no traffic. Newark, you know what you did, right? Just generally like traffic was pretty light. The kids did like amazingly. Schmoopie lost his stuffing a little bit towards the end, but we're working on bedtime and off schedule and a lot of screen time. So like, kid was going to go off the deep end anyway. So like it was all good, but like I was probably unable to sleep but needed sleep but wasn't sleeping and was tilting at Hearthstone. So that was like me at like peak. And so this guy gives me this hostage rogue, and I'm like, nah, this ain't it. So he sends it to me again. He goes, I made the changes you wanted, but he missed like 2 or 3 of the obvious ones. So I made those 2 or 3 obvious changes. So I was like, all right, we're gonna do it. And as we're playing this deck, we've gotten a huge no hands raid, right? No hands is raiding with like 600 people, whatever, whoever wants to come see what Wild's like. Nice. By the end of the game, I had 262 in chat. I don't know where they all left, but watching a hostage rogue win is like agonizing. Yeah. Because it looks like they do nothing at first, right? So first there's the setup. You have to stay alive. And then you keep going past the setup to like, okay, they are now infinitely bouncing tests. But all of a sudden there start being these loops where I establish a board after the tests have played Vanish. Mm-hmm. Because if you think about it, if you've played 5 or 6 tests, that's 5 or 6 instances of a non-rogue card coming after Vanish plays. So eventually, like people are always like, well, how does Hostage Rogue win? Hostage Rogue wins with tempo. You win by making a giant board that is unanswerable for the opponent, tempo-wise, and they just give up. So this person's deck was doing like the Garrote stuff, and there was no Kingsbane, and there's no secret passage, so I had to do like a lot of like really grindy hand management. I got it for YouTube. It's going to go up pretty soon. I think tomorrow. I don't remember on time of recording. But like, it's like, oh my God. And then like I finished the game when my opponent left. My opponent was a Thief Reno Priest, so they were also trying to play Hostage Rogue, but it wasn't working as well. So the game was going extra long because like only like they could only eat 1 Garrote at a time, and it was like, all right, well I just drew like 8, so I guess I'm gonna play 3 more Tesses. Right, and it was just we were both just sort of slugging each other, but like instead of slugging each other, we were just like booping each other on the nose with a finger, like boop, your turn. So I had 60 cards in deck. None of them were real. My opponent was decking out, and they finally decided after I played the 3rd hero card that I wanted to play that they had enough. One of the silly things that does happen is once you've played a hero card, when you play tests, she will replay hero cards that are not of the same class. And so you can actually like bank a significant amount of armor just from test replaying hero cards. In any case, what a way to get 4K rogue wins. It's ridiculous. I was a little bit disgusted with myself because I realized my Hunter's at 3965. So it's just like, Hunter used to be my biggest, and now Hunter is so far behind. Other than that, just playing some fun decks. I've got 2 decks that I want to talk about tonight a little bit later. In Copper Control Rogue, which may be a misnomer. We can fight about that in the comments. And and Rain Man has perfected the Exodia OTK using the new quest. So as bad as the cards are, we could do something with the buffs, I guess. Cool.
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
Though a lot of people would probably say,
welcome to the news. The news is actually pretty bad.
I mean, it's fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah. So patch 33.2.2 dropped. This one, the patch notes came out on the 19th, which is also, guess what, when the patch itself came out.
Nutty.
So I am going to just start with their comments before going into what the nerfs were, because I think that those comments will probably be the biggest discussion point from this whole thing.
These were the most copy-pasted, like, word-for-word comments from a blurb in a balance patch I've seen in a long time. Across multiple servers. Like, sometimes, like, somebody takes the notes and they, like, put it in the copy-pasta section, and, like, a couple people are like, yeah. I saw this one getting sprayed everywhere, like, 3 or 4 different times.
And with good reason. So, dev comment, well met. We want to share a quick update covering 2 things. a small set of balance changes, and the current status of quests. The meta features a wide variety of decks across classes and strategies, balanced well against each other, so we've avoided major changes that could disrupt things ahead of the mini-set launch. Instead, we focused on a couple of play patterns that needed adjustment. Amirdrasil, spoiler alert, has been the strongest card in Druid since its release, especially in Alonius Druid where it fuels the OTK game plan. This change slows it down and makes it riskier to keep in the mulligan. Sure, Jan. Reserve Spot has been enabling explosive early turns in Handbuff Hunter, so we've made it a bit slower and more measured to reduce those blowouts. We've been following community discussions around the power level of quests and appreciate everyone who's taken the time to share their thoughts. Our goal this expansion was to bring quests closer to the level they reached in their first 2 appearances rather than the overperformance seen with quest lines in United and Stormwind. For that reason, we're not making further quest buffs in this patch, but we'll continue monitoring their power level following the mini-set.
Do we want to first just talk like wild impact in the nerfs? Because that's going to be like 2 sentences. Amirdrasil, I think, hits like literally 2 decks. Astral Communion, which currently is waning because it has an awful matchup into Discard Warlock. So I like running it in Astral Communion Druid, but I know a bunch of people who play Astral Communion Druid with absolutely dog water lists who don't have it in there. So like it's probably like tertiary. The most popular Malagos Druid list runs Amirdrasil. It's a controversial card in that list because it does take up 2 board spaces in order to do the thing. And so that deck is already sort of like squished when it comes to 7 spots on the board. Some people were cutting it to begin with. KVLT was trying out Innervate. KVLT was also having graduation goggles and thinking about playing it anyway in the same exact stream. So there's a good chance that you like it either has a slight nerf to it's nerfed, but you have to run it anyway because it's probably pretty good. Reserved Spot has almost no wild function whatsoever unless you're playing what is it called? The chef minion in Warrior, the one that like you draw it and it makes a new copy, but it has tradable, so you can trade it back. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Martian Boo made a deck based around that minion, and that deck used reserve spots. Line Cook, thank you, Kaizu. Line Cook, right? So you could play Line Cook Warrior. Line Cook Warrior registered the lowest win rate and highest sample size for a deck that gets picked up on HS Replay ever.
Wow.
With a whopping 27% win rate. So, yes, reserve spot will be felt by parts of the community. No, it is not a wild nerf. So, all right. So that's the wild impact. We could talk a little bit more about the individual standard impacts if you'd like. But what do you want to say about Line Cook Warrior? Because like that's like kind of like hysterical.
It is. I was just going to specify what the specific nerfs were. So Amirdrasil went from 4 to 5, and Reserve Spot went from 3 to 4. So both just bumped up a mana. Not really very exciting to talk about, but we mentioned what the cards were, but not what the specific nerfs were. So definitely wanted to mention that one too.
I've seen more people mad at Reserve Spot being hit in Warrior communities because it's basically been hit for Hunter reasons, which is I've seen similar communities be like, well, this set was terrible for Warrior, talking about Perils in Paradise. And I said, no, it's not. It's been amazing for Warrior because it's allowed you to not have to play Warrior cards. right? You've been able to play Druid ones instead, and that's been a big impact. That's been a big positive impact on the class. So yeah, no, that's yes, thank you. Those are the numbers. Do you want to talk about Amirdrasil in standard and why this happening now is like kind of a bad joke for the community if from some perspectives?
Yeah, so there was like a playoffs that were going down this past weekend or roundabout there, and Amir Drasil hadn't been hit yet, but Alonius Druid was kind of prolific in both that deck and kind of spotlighted in the playoffs. So having the mana cheat, in order to get the maximum mana cheat, you'd want to use the third durability of it. So this slows that combo turn down a little bit, I guess. I was never a big Alonius Druid player, so
the way Amir Drasil was described to me by standard players in the context of the standard meta, the second tick off the location basically wins the game. So the first tick's what, like you coin it out, you do the first tick right away because it's like kind of whatever. The second tick is apparently what's like really, and like the extra card draw, the extra tempo, the extra mana reset, that was enabling a lot of plays. This card had by far the highest mulligan win rate of any card in standard. I believe that's true. Like it was like stupidly high. And we can talk later about like just one more nerf. This was like an outstanding good card that I think the developers were a little bit wary of hitting because it was enabling so much in standard, but it wasn't like Druid was blowing the doors off of everything, right? Like it wasn't like it was ending it. So they were trying their best not to hit Amir Drasil because it's like this is what Druid had going on, pretty much. Like this is the scam that they were left with. And so the worry is deleting this card functionally deletes Druid from standard.
Yeah.
Until maybe rescued by the mini set, but possibly for 2 months until we get new cards, and then we get to determine whether or not that's true still. So like this was, people have been screaming for this card to get nerfed forever, and the fact that it's happened now, some people I think were a little bit taken aback and found it a little bit comical.
True. And it's been a good card, but like you said, Druid hasn't been like the powerhouse. The Alonius Druid's a good deck, but like I think this is kind of segueing into the One More Nerf because like are we not allowed to have good decks at all?
I don't think standard. I honestly think we're at the points sheep that I don't think standard's allowed to have good cards. Like if a card is good, it's not nerf it. That's not the perspective of the developers, I think. That is the expectation of the community, standard community at large. If a card is good, it's going to need a balance adjustment. As opposed to just like, why can't we have good cards? I find it so frustrating.
It's bizarre.
The Ethereal Oracle nerf, I think, encapsulates it the most. Because people at the time were like, no, this card does too much. It enables too many things. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, guys, it's just a good card.
It's okay to have good cards.
Everything else around it is so weak, it can't contend with Ethereal freaking Oracle. The problem isn't, and I had this discussion with somebody who was brand new to my stream. They came in, they're like, hey, how do you think they should finish balancing standard? I'm like, this is a wild stream, but if you want my opinion is they need to stop nerfing stuff. They're like, no, but like there's still too much peril stuff that's strong. There's still too much whiz-bang stuff that's strong. And I'm like, then why aren't the new cards better? Like, why aren't the new cards at the same level as those sets? Why are they so much lower that the old cards are that much of a problem? I don't think we need to take the old cards and bring them lower. I would be for a set of buffs rather than nerfs to bring things to a more even or acceptable playing field. Because I don't think we can go back to, like, minions without text bumping each other which seems to be the nostalgic feel that like a portion of the community thinks that they want to chase and do. But the closer we get to that, the more that it feels like that same portion of the community realizes that's not what they want. So what do you want to do? Because like I want to just see stuff buffed so that like standard doesn't suck, because if standard sucks, nobody plays the game, and if nobody plays the game, wild's in bad shape. So like, what would you do?
Yeah, and I think there are a couple different paths that they could take. You know, one is, let's, like you were saying, let's just make the new cards, the power level at or greater than what came before. We play wild. Like, having high powered cards and high powered synergies is like fun. Like that's why we play this mode, right?
It's fun to establish rules, right? That most people have to follow and then break them. Every card game does it. Every card game does it. And it's part of what makes it gives classes diversity. It gives classes different flavors. It makes the game fun. I'm sorry, I interrupted you in the middle of your thoughts. Continue.
You're good. Because the other one is the other kind of path that they could take is, if they really do kind of want to reset the power level, just rotate the previous standard year out early. Like if we're always seeing these perils cards and these whiz-bang cards, then and we are, because they're actually decent cards, then rotate them so that like everything is on that more kind of lower power level, and there aren't those things, and then they can actually like get the balance of the new stuff right. I don't necessarily think that's the way to go, because bumping Yetis, like Classic was around and no one played it because only bots and Labore played it.
Yeah, no, like before the bots took it over, nobody played it. Like they tried it, no one wanted it.
Right.
I think the other person that a tweet that popped up on my feed, because my feed, I think I broke the algorithm on Twitter. I don't know. I only get animal videos, like wholesome animal videos, like rescues at the zoo, or like, look, this cat and this monkey are best friends because they met each other when they were little. Oh, look at this tiger and this bear. They're still having fun, even though they're both gigantic. They're playing like little bear cubs and little tiger kitten. Look at them go, right?
That's my YouTube Shorts algorithm. Like,
that's your
I love
YouTube
it.
Shorts algorithm, right? It's that and Hearthstone, and so I don't get any of the other like cringe stuff that other people get. And I got No Hands, and No Hands goes basically in like this bottom section, starting with we've been following community discussions around the power level of quests, and appreciate everyone who's taken the time to share their thoughts, down to monitoring their power level following the mini set. He looked at it and he goes, his conclusion was, so they're basically admitting that they wrote this expansion off as filler. And if they're going to be doing that, and here's the other thing, if you're going to be doing that and you're basically going to be saying, okay, guys, we're going to reset the power level, and this set is just going to be lower power set. If you do that, it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, I guess, but you're stuck in this situation of like, why would anybody ever want to pay for new cards?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why would anybody ever want to buy the pre-expansion? How many people would buy the pre-expansion, realize the set isn't for them, have spent the money, take a break from Hearthstone, wait for the next set, pay for the next expansion, and like these are people that are getting strung along, like, we're talking 2, sometimes 3 months at a time, right? Like they play Hearthstone sort of infrequently. They get tilted easily. They used to be hyper engaged, but they're sort of disillusioned now, but there's a sunken cost fallacy, and they just keep coming back. This makes it really easy. When you make sets this week, it makes it really easy for those people to finally kick the bucket and be like, I'm done. I don't have to do this anymore. I'm getting off the pot. I'm done. I'm done. I can walk away and I know I'm not missing anything. Versus like, and I'm not, game balance is hard. There's a reason why I'm not a game designer. Mostly that's because I'm a millennial and I came up in the wrong time. The other reason being, though, I had the wrong set of skills. I could barely read. No, but mostly
can confirm.
Yeah, Sheep's seen my handwriting, especially on my phone. The balance is so hard. Balance is so hard, and game design is so hard. And I don't want to armchair quarterback the devs either and be like, you guys should do it better because it's easy to do it better. It's not easy to do it better. But this is also, if this is true and it's like we're shipped just sort of a subpar quality content on purpose, what's the philosophy? Are we going through a power reset? Like, is that what we're doing right now? Are we in a greater power reset? Do they need to come and clearly communicate to we, the players, that at least in standard we need to be more patient as the power resets? Should there be an early rotation? Should that be if that starts, then the community starts having a dialogue about, well, maybe we should do an early rotation. I think an early rotation would be very popular. Because I think you got a lot of dust fiends that play standard that would love to start dusting stuff early. And so they could make new decks quickly. Like, I think they could probably get away with that. And that'd probably be very popular if that's really their goal for what they want standard to be. I don't know. It's frustrating because, again, I've never felt like the game has ever been more tenuous than it is right now. Like, we're in a really critical moment where a lot of people could choose to just sort of get up and walk away if they wanted to. And feel perfectly happy to do that.
Yeah, and to kind of and that, like, what you said about the kind of communication about, we don't know. Like, we've been speculating on here for a while that there's a power reset because of these, not really progressively decreasing, but just kind of digging further down into the basement of power level with these sets, right? So I mean, it's kind of been our assumption, but it's just that it's an assumption. We don't know. Like, there's no telling. Like, where are they going with it? I'm sure that they have a plan. I hope they have a plan. I don't doubt that they have a plan.
They have to. They have to navigate this wonderfully. And if they said tomorrow, you know what, we tried it, we didn't like it, we saw a decrease in numbers, we saw a decrease in enthusiasm, we're gonna do mass buffs, we're gonna see how this goes. I think that would also be widely applauded by the base. Like, I think not everybody's going to be happy in the community. There's a lot of people that some very vocal content creators that are very pro, like, let's reduce the power level and just wait it out. Just one more nerf, guys. I don't think that's the way. I mean, that's not, if they're going to do it, they have to jump one way or the other. If we're going to have a full power reset, I think they have to be very clear and open about that. If they're not going to do a full power reset, they have to be clear and open about that. If we're in a power reset, but we're keeping the old sets, they need to be clear and open about that. Somebody has to tell us something.
Yeah. And honestly, like, their buffs in the past have largely been kind of inconsequential. Like, for the most part, there are a few outliers where it's like, oh yeah, this one was buffed and then it started seeing play, but like, that's the exception.
They hate buffing and then having to nerf something. They hate buffing and then having to nerf something. They get because they get raked over the coals. Because people flip out. They're like, why do they buff this card? This card shouldn't exist. This card is disgusting. Right? And, like, all they did was they gave it like one extra mana boost so that it's playable. Now it sees widespread enough play and people get upset by it. It's weird.
But we've been in the Hearthstone communities long enough to know that people are going to complain no matter what, right? Like,
yes. Don't listen to us, please. Listen to us less.
Yes. Big agree there. Listen to us less.
If we're whining, it's like children. If they're whining, listen to them even less. If you buy into it one monochrome, if you buy into it one iota, all you're doing is you're just sending a dopamine signal that it works, and now you're screwed. Now it's like it's like we're like dogs begging for scraps at the bottom of the table. The dog has to keep begging because you know what? You only have to get right once, right? Mm-hmm. But that's it. You feed the dog once underneath the table, you're stuck with that dog forever.
Yeah. But also, like, I think that if they were to, like, want to actually reset the power level up, like make things that are coming out now more playable, they would need to take some chances with those, and I would be a fan of that. Like, oh yeah, we overshot here, but like, do it for a ton of stuff. Do it for a ton of stuff, and yeah, pare back the things that went too far. That would be, I think, my preferred outcome.
That was tradition, and we're still continuing that practice, except the stuff that's coming out is mid, and anything that's coming out is like a little better than mid or good is getting whacked. It's just getting like it's coming out the factory, and we're just squashing it with a sledgehammer. It's like, nope, can't have good stuff. We don't make good stuff anymore. So like I don't know what they do. I don't know what they do, because like how do you approach a power reset then? Is the 4th expansion going to be a banger, or is the 4th expansion going to be another damp squib? And so is the 5th and the 6th expansion. And from now on forever, we're just going to have like really mid cards that are uninteresting and not powerful. And I felt it in Wild, I think, especially just based off of the single content that I do, where I do a lot of Wild Viewer decks. And a lot of Wild players, we like variety, and we like trying new stuff, and we try to make the new stuff work. And I have watched people send me and ship me the new stuff, and I've watched my win rate drop from like something like, I was probably like a 55, almost 60% win rate player playing whatever stuff that was like reasonably competitive. Like sometimes you get a really bad deck, but that's off balanced by somebody who wants to see you play a meta deck. So it really, like, we're talking about the homebrew right in the middle. Like, I was positive with homebrew.
Yeah.
To like, I am noticeably negative now. There are some nights where I win like 3 games. And it's because I'm playing odd quest DH.
You're
part
welcome.
4.
Mine was part 1. Mine was part 1 at least.
Right. But like 3 other people thought, oh, that's a good idea. Let me try to make that work. And it doesn't work. Doesn't freaking work, man. And so like I'm watching people kind of like try to make the new cards work, and they're just not. They're not of the same caliber. Yeah. Ironically, I think the least popular mini set, the StarCraft mini set that we got, for being as on the surface, as parasitic as it was, to remind the audience, in case you know what I mean by that, is like, it all looks, it's like, oh, well, the Protoss cards only work with the Protoss cards, and the Zerg cards have to have synergy with the Zerg cards, and the other faction that I'm forgetting right now, the Terran have to like have synergy with the Terrans, right? But kind of what we want from new cards when they come out, not only were they good and did in fact run with each other, but there is also hidden synergies that you'd find that they would dovetail on with older cards. So like I had standard players being like, what do you mean the StarCraft mini set did well in Wild? I'm like, it made Hunter like a tier 1 deck quietly.
Oh, it was so good. That was because so fun.
The Zerg location had great, like, the Zerg location had like great synergy with something like Acid Maw. Like, it wasn't printed to play with Acid Maw nicely, but like it's a great combo. They didn't print a 2-mana gain 6 armor to have synergy with Hostage Mage, but that's core now. Like, that's not coming out. As long as Salad Alibi is a playable card in that deck, that's staying in there. And there's a couple of other examples that are kind of running around in the StarCraft mini set. I thought for a hot minute, because of the StarCraft mini set, DK was actually like kind of viable and Wild as like a disruption class, because you could just keep, 7-mana carry, which could be a 6-mana carry, which could print Vipers. Like you had so much like built-in little synergies that you could find that were actually pretty good in the StarCraft mini set. And I thought that was like the last appropriate level of cards that we've gotten. And it's reviled by the standard crowd because they were terrorized by it, because everything else that it was up against sucked. And like, I don't know what you do once you're done with your power reset, because if you come out with a banger, you're going to have a StarCraft 2.0 where everybody's like, well, this set was too strong. They had too much power creep all at once. And it's like, well, no, you're starting with nothing. And now we've been given something, and something's too much. Something's too much. It's like somebody who has, gone through an extreme survivor situation. They can't go out and drink too much water or eat too much food right away. You got to wean them on it. And that's going to be a delicate process. I don't know how they do that. So I'd rather see them just skip that So we don't have to do that and just buff everything, please. Please.
Yeah. Into some semblance of playability. Well,
Please.
to be a little, to kind of switch gears from that, we do have some kind of new exciting decks that you've been playing as well. And I got to catch a little bit of the second one that we're going to talk about. And I had my own version ages ago, which was not as refined as this. So I'm really excited to talk about these, especially the one that, I haven't played at all yet. So I'm very excited to hear about Copper Control Rogue.
So Copper calls this Control Rogue. To me, it's a mid-range deck with an anti-value combo top end. And we all know how much I love having these archetype discussions about how you label a deck and the importance that I place on them.
Important.
It can be kind of anything. Like you can play it like a beatdown. It's a little bit hard to disrupt combo, but it's not impossible. You have the pirate pregame, right? So like you're playing Jolly Roger, you're playing Fillet Fighter, you've got Boat for draw. I think one of the nice things that Copper wove into this list is previous versions have felt like they are live or die on the boat and whether or not you find Boat for enough draw. And he's kind of solved that by having Quick Pick and also having Corsair Carrier, which I have always loved Corsair Carrier, and I'm so happy we have found a way to put Corsair Carrier back in the deck. Quick Pick is great.
Is that the Cutlass Courier?
Oh, Cutlass Courier. Excuse me. Thank you.
Cool.
I am reading really small text. Cutlass Courier. Yep, that one. The one where he's carrying swords around. Yes, that makes sense. You draw 2 cards when you do that. So you draw a non-pirate card and you draw a pirate card. So you quickly are like bringing a ton of resources into your hand. We have our Sword Shiner, so you can turn your Quick Pick into a 3/3. We're Weapon Rogue of standard past, right? We're stealing some stuff from Weapon Rogue. Timeline Accelerator can get us a 4-mana Voltron. If you're asking yourself, okay, I'd love to try the deck, Schmoopie, but do I really have to craft Voltron? Copper says that it's up there with one of the best cards in the deck. It is actually Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, but in a different packaging. You want to bounce it with Shadow Step. You want to pick the damage option frequently. There are a lot of missed lethals. I catch myself missing a lot of lethals because I can drop Voltron, use the damage option, and then Shadow Step and play it again. And I would otherwise miss those lines. Scoundrel, Sandbox Scoundrel is just like a fun card to play with. And when you pair it up with Bran, you can do some really stupid things.
Oh.
And when you pair it up with Shadow Step, you can do some really stupid things. And it's got Hook Tusk. So like at some point you start playing the opponent's deck. Like there's just a lot of fun things that you can do with this. We've got our Okani scams. We've got our Grifta scams. We can spam Lothebs. Like there are ways to kind of get there. And no 2 games feel truly like you're playing the same game in a row. I've been successful enough. I might actually try to climb to like Diamond 5 with it because I think it can kind of do everything, and it can kind of play okay into everything, especially aggro. This has been historically very good against Shadow Priest. Hated to see Libram Paladin. Doesn't want to see like sustained aggro, but if you can push the aggro off board and then the board doesn't matter anymore, it's happy about it. Libram Paladin, you basically got like one. You get one good board clear if you can get an early Scabs. If you can get an early Scabs, you might have a chance. There's no Astalor to spam, so you're gonna have to take their stuff. We're spamming Voltron. Voltron is just like tutorable, and we can make it cheater than Astalor, but that is Copper Control Rogue. Actually, a sneaky amount of life gain too, when you consider what you can get off of Stick Up and our Ziliax, which we can get as a 5/6 taunt rusher if you get it off of Timeline.
Yeah, and of course the Grifta option for heals as well. But a lot of different kind of versatile things there. Is there anything that you might want to cut to include Astalor? Because I mean, Astalor is Astalor.
If you really
it's great.
if you wanted to, my unrefined eye says either one of the sword shiners or one of the coin weapons. I forget what the coin weapons are called. Again, it's tall, it's tiny, and
metal detector.
Metal detector. Either a metal detector or a sword shiner, because I feel like either way, like it's late game value, but those are kind of like the more expensive cards on your curve that aren't bombs that you don't want to that you want to keep around. Everything else after that has a very specific role. Like Grifta has a role.
Oh yeah.
You can double it up with Bran, which I have found to be very helpful for finding lethals. You're not cutting scabs. You're not cutting Ziliacs. You're not cutting hook tusk. No. You know what I mean? Like, you keep going up the line and stuff you're not cutting. So you start looking at stuff like, all right, do I need Okani? I probably need Okani.
Mm-hmm.
I need Timeline. I need Renathal. So get rid of one of the other threes. Corsair, Cutlass Courier has been transformative in the deck. So I wouldn't cut there. Yeah. So that's I think where I would go. I'd probably cut one of the 3 drops, but I wouldn't with Astalor. I wouldn't put Astalor in. It seems too slow for this.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, metal detector was the one I had kind of picked as the kind of flex spot as well. That coin generating weapon. So that's validating.
It's so good though. It's so good for getting like an early scabs. Right? Like, you get an early scabs hero, and aggro kind of cries a little bit, because whatever they play after that is probably going to get traded into by 4/2s. Mm-hmm. And you're also starting your mana cheat train. So, like, it's a really tight list, despite the fact that, we've had a control rogue list like this for a long time.
Sick. I cannot wait to sleeve this one up and fumble my way through gaining some ranks.
You're a good player. You'll probably figure it out, right? Like, just start with like a normal like pirate opening and like look for, you might want to look for boat, but if you don't find boat, like pick is great. And you just sort of start finding stuff. It's one of those fun decks where you like play it and you just start like finding stuff. Or watching Copper play is so much fun, because watching Copper play is just like, oh, I didn't even think about that. And he just starts doing a line because he's done it enough times. He's trying to push for 1 with it. I think he's top 10 on EU with it. He started in the doldrums. In the dumpster with it, and just sort of like climbed his way back.
Excitement abounds. Well, another one that heavily features a brand new card, the Forbidden Sequence, is Rain Man's kind of Exodia mage is kind of what I called it, but I swear it's good, of course, is what is called
so this is
in the deck list.
This is from, so Monday I go back to streaming. I'm tilted. I'm playing. I'm not having very much fun. I'm roasting chatters for their terrible decks. Our good friend Barbecue sent me three stinkers in a row, including one that like two that he was having like a good time playing, but they happened to be subpar, considering just like what I was playing. Like, he's having a good time in 9x, but like at the time I'm like solidly in like 10xers that could push for 11x but aren't quite doing it for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. They're playing jank, they're not playing well, they had a losing streak, like, name your myriad of reasons. So that stuff's not working, and he sent me a druid that was just putrid. He's like, I never even played it, I'm sorry I sent it, I should have at least done some testing. I'm like, nah, it's fine. So the next day he sends me this deck, and he says, I swear it's good. And I look at it, and I see 30 cards, and I'm like, why? Right? Like, why are we doing a 30-card thing? It just does not seem worth it. He's like, just try it. Rain Man's gone up to rank 100 with it. And it's funny because I've played Rain Man playing this a couple times. I've won some, I've lost some, right? Mm-hmm. When I've lost some, I've been like, oh, wow, look, I've lost to the new Quest Mage, guys. I think this is time to pack up this deck and delete it. And I've also beaten it because I've been like Lucky Trash, and I've been like patchwork sniping as ETC.
Nice.
I started playing the deck, and I start to get it. Like, this is very well put together. No, you do not need... a lot of people are saying, look, well, why don't we have... Xavius, however you say his name, in it, to tutor the ETC. And Rain Man's thought was like, well, that's usually like tipping off your opponent that like, hey, dirty rat me. So he stopped running it and he ran Polkelt instead. And if he's going to run Polkelt, the top card in the list is ETC. So you can kind of time your Polkelt, like get your weapon down, time your Polkelt, and you will always have enough mana to combo. The combo is once you've got the quest completed, get the weapon up, we play ETC. ETC has 3 cards in it. It has Talon, the Bloodwatcher, Bloodweaver, I can't see.
Tathalin, Bloodwatcher, Archmage Antonidas, and Thaddeus Monstrosity.
Nutty. Pick Tony. Talon and Thaddeus will summon how they will summon. I used to think it mattered how you put them in the ETC. Somebody told me that, and then Rainman's like, no, that's garbage. Nope. It's the whole reason why I got to buy one, get one freeze. It's like, okay, if they come out in the good order, which I believe is Talon and then Thaddeus, when you play Tony for 1 mana, because he costs 1 now, you play Tony for 1 mana, and you play a spell, your fireballs cost 0. If they come out in the bad order, you have to take buy 1, get 1 freeze and play it on Thaddeus, and now your Tony costs 0, and so does every fireball you play, and you just go to town. I was very consistent winning on turn 7 or 8 with this. I think Talon on the right is the bad order. Talon needs to be on the left of the ETC Discover when you play him. That's the good order. Talon on the right is the bad order. So, like, there's a 50-50 on the order.
Yeah, because Thaddeus discounts him first, and then Tathalin makes that go down to 0.
Right. How they show up on the ETC, I guess it depends on how they show up on the ETC Discover, and we go from there. This was hotly debated on stream as I was playing the deck, as I was smoking mages. Which is the next thing.
Played my own version of this a lot, and it doesn't matter how you put it in the ETC, it just randomly, like you said, with the Discover, probably is what makes it happen. But so it'll just be random.
We're goofing off with this, and as long as you have enough mana, I usually have to go in with 8 mana to feel reasonably safe, unless I'm gambling, unless I have to go in to play the weapon and ETC. But if you have the weapon preloaded, which is pretty easy to do because we got a lot of random Mage Discover, and a lot of random Mage Discover is actually high quality, which I think I said when this card was revealed. It's like you can usually like Glyph, you can find like a bad spell at its normal mana cost and knock 2 mana off of it and be like, I could do something with this. This is playable. I could get this down. Everybody loved what's this spell? Hold on. Aha! Vast Wisdom. When Vast Wisdom came out, everybody was trying to make Vast Wisdom work. Vast Wisdom is a lot of fun. Tidepool Pupils can be a Discover and repeat something you want. One Thief is very good. Suspicious Alchemist is a funny one. If they get the guess right for the Suspicious Alchemist, you actually get quest progress.
Huh.
So it's a single Discover that also sometimes is a double Discover. So be careful what you send them, though. He is running 1 hot streak because he found the Smoldering Grove to be one of the best cards in the list, and he liked it when it costs 0. So the 1 hot streak and the 1 magic trick do actually make some sense there. And also, if you think about it from that point of view, the Suspicious Alchemist and the Wand Thief are your best 1 mana Discovers, even though the Wand Thief is technically a combo. At least it's tempo on board. You can kind of trade into things, I guess. Right? You don't necessarily want to do the magic trick. You also need a cheap minion sometimes to check for test to objection. So like or test through Okani. So it's nice having the 1 mana minions before you drop your ETC. But other than that, you got Ice Block, you got Frost Nova, you got Rewind. Figure it out, bro.
Wiser words have never been spoken.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun, very consistent. And it was good. I won a game with it on stream that day. That he's just like, no, I swear this is good. And then I played it again. I played it off stream a little bit, and I was just like, "Hey, this is pretty popping." And then I played it again to start a stream, and won like 4 in a row with it. And was able to make a video of it, so it's fun.
Nice. Yeah, Casino Mage, but more consistent. Like, what's not to love?
100%.
Unrelated Advice with Electric Sheep City.
All right. Sheep, you might know where
Hi.
this is going.
Not yet.
While I was tilted, fixing a deck, I poured out like half a beer on my keyboard.
Oh, I do know where
Okay.
this is going.
I have gotten a solution to that. All right, so, I poured out half a beer on my keyboard functionally. I soaked up as much of it as I could. I dried as much as I could. Did I turn it upside down? No. Did I unplug it? No. I just rocked it. I finished the stream. I'm a professional. Okay. People are there to watch me perform. I have to play through the pain. The next day, some very key keys were sticky. Okay, it was not a good scene. I was DMing the Born Be Wild group DM, being like, "Hey guys, give me some keyboard ideas. This is unusable. The backspace now sticks a little bit." And I have come up with a solution to unstick those keys myself. I have been recklessly spraying WD-40 while I stream underneath the keys, and then mashing the keys so that they loosen up. And that has worked pretty well. But understandably, one of the downsides is I have tasted a lot of WD-40 because that WD-40 has gotten on my fingers. I've later gone and had some some late night snacks, and those late night snacks have had a little bit of WD-40. Has been delicious. So anyway, what are some possible solutions that you would suggest? Maybe some tips or tricks to unstick the keyboards, the keyboard keys that I currently have sticky without me spraying some more of this bad boy.
So, do the keys on your keyboard kind of come off relatively easy or not at all? Because that will, at the very least, slightly modify my recommendation here.
I'm not sure. I never attempted. All I did was I started spraying.
Cool. So if they're, like the membrane ones that are like a pain to like get back on whenever, they have a little like hinge and stuff like that, which is my assumption. You'll probably want to get like a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol and kind of like essentially get it under there and use that as like a cleaning way to get under there. The rubbing alcohol will let you actually cull it out, and it's a little wet, but it is a-okay.
I can't help but notice you said alcohol, and so it feels like I'm fighting beer with beer.
Pretty close. Yeah. But this one is the kind that you rub. It's similar to vodka, right?
Does it make
smells like it?
We rub it. Do we get an alcohol genie?
Oh, I wish. That would be incredible.
And then I can wish my keys to unstick so that I don't have to deal with my backspace or apparently my underscore being stuck down for 45 seconds at a time.
And once you make that wish, you only get one wish from this particular alcohol genie. I'm sorry to say, unless you get the higher like percentage of isopropyl alcohol there. But once you make your wish, and it has to be keyboard related, then all your problems will be solved.
Wise words have never been spoken, and you heard that on.
Born to be wild.
I wonder what my genie's name's going to be.
Ooh, Logi Tech?
Probably Greg. God.